Hello, and welcome to episode 127 of the Board Game Barrage podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be doing less talking. We do all this talking. Today, we're going to be doing less talking and more listening. So we're not going to be talking the talk. We're going to be listening to listen. It's a term I coined myself. And listening with me, as always, are my two main co-hosts, Neelan and Kellen.
Wow, that's...
Thanks,
But
Mark.
special guest and giving the people what they want, the much demanded fourth official tank of the Board Game Barrage podcast.
And your
Christina.
only ally.
And
Not
my
to
only
mention
ally.
that.
Oh, what does that mean?
We're allies,
Yeah.
me and Mark.
Oh my God, no one
Breakbeat.
cares about Breakbeat.
Mark forgot Breakbeat.
I did not
name
forget
for 5
anything.
seconds there.
What? No, I didn't. I had it.
We have team shirts that
That's
say
right.
Breakbeak on them.
That's right. I'm wearing it right now.
Me
as you
too.
can tell.
Did we ever talk about how badly I failed that puzzle challenge? Like,
No.
it was... So,
no.
it's just like all day long amazing race event in which Neelan and I were teamed up and these idiots were also teamed up. And to start the second half of the day, you had to do a puzzle. You know, like literally like a 20-piece...
Yeah.
It was like a
20
it was
puzzle.
like
Jigsaw puzzle for 5-year-olds.
literally for 5-year-olds. It was not
And
20 pieces. It was like 7.
We were no, it was not 7, and we were so competitive over this that I was getting so hyped up, and the challenge was sort of like we're all in this courtyard and it's like ready go, and it's a 20-piece puzzle. And so the way that I decided to do this was as soon as he said go, I ripped the box in half, ruining the photograph that would show me how to put the puzzle together, and then I proceeded to be like literally last place because I couldn't figure out
Poor Neelan.
how to put the puzzle together.
And I can't help, so I'm just like sitting on the sidelines watching this all
Yeah.
play
Did
out.
you notice
It was really
immediately
sad.
that I like ruined the box? And
I don't think I
did you have-
realized that straight away.
Yeah,
I remember as we were leaving, taking one last look at Kellen, and he's like on the ground with this torn box, and he has just like this look of resignation on his face, like, I don't know what to do.
I made a huge mistake.
I think he didn't even finish it. Like he timed out on that challenge. Like
Right.
it took so long that Dean took pity on him and said, "All right, if you're not
That was part of the
finished."
rules. It was not a
Well-
mercy rule for me,
Who could say?
and it was not 7 pieces. Okay, I will defend my honor. It must have been 24.
The
That's
image-
the bare minimum.
The image was like 2 cats sitting next to each other. It was
That
really
fur all
basic
looks the
image.
same.
Well, needless to say, Mark and I destroyed Kellen and Neelan.
That's right. Crushed.
Yeah, we didn't do great, if I remember correctly.
So, yeah, we are going to be listening to listener questions. For the last couple episodes, we've been putting a call out for listener questions, both recorded and on Instagram. And we are going to be taking those on this show. But before we do that, we're going to be talking about the games we've played this week. Neelan, what have you been playing?
I want to do like a quick shout out to a return to Gloomhaven after what's probably been like a year of my group not playing it. For those that don't know, I have mentioned a couple of times that we were like close to the end of this campaign. So we're 40 scenarios into this. We have like maybe 3 or 4 from what I can tell to like literally just finish out the main story. And because of work, we just all had to stop about a year ago. So I made the effort to
Nice.
not intentional. I made the effort to sort of reassemble the campaign progress we had on the Tabletop Simulator mod. Now, there's a really, really good Tabletop Simulator mod that's just called like Gloomhaven Scripted Setup.
Sorry.
Really?
Yeah. This is all deliberate.
Neelan's so annoyed. He's like, just let me talk about Gloomhaven.
So this mod is like a scripted setup for the game that takes over so many of just the basic functionality. It has every single scenario in the game pre-programmed. So all you have to do is pick a scenario number, hit go, and it lays out the first room of the map. The way Gloomhaven normally works is one person is supposed to sort of lay out the whole map so they kind of know what's going to happen. But the way that this one works is you can just do it one room at a time, and then you click an open button on the next door, and it lays out the next room. It sets up all the monsters. Every monster has like its HP bar above it. You can click little buttons to lower their HP, automate all their initiative orders, their cards. It's insane how much this just takes some of the fiddliness out of Gloomhaven, to the extent that all of us at the end of that game were just saying, why would we play this
Right.
on the tabletop anymore? And that's like a half truth, because obviously we lose a lot of the vibe around the table of playing a board game, but we were like set up in 5 minutes, out in another 5. It's so trivial how much it automates for you, that it was just kind of a breeze. It was a pleasure to go back to Gloomhaven in that capacity. It was cool. I'm digging getting back into it and actually finishing it out this time.
Is there like the idea that if it works as a digital adaptation, like the more impressed you are with this digital adaptation, the less it should have ever existed as a board game to begin with?
I understand that sentiment, but then I think you're making the argument that every board game should just be a video game, right? Which I cannot.
No,
agree
I don't
with
think
that.
so. I mean, we'd have to nuance it out, but it's essentially...
Where is the line of where the fiddliness is more annoying than
yeah.
yeah, totally. Like I've said in the past, like Through the Ages, like straddles that line a little bit, where I almost feel like the upkeep of the board is just handled better in video game form. I still think that if you were designing that experience from the ground up as a video game, it would be substantially different. You would be solving different puzzles. You know, those types of puzzle type games that board games readily offer don't really exist that often in video game form. This would be a game where you'd click somewhere to move and click a button for it to like kill a monster. It just wouldn't be the same experience. Whether that's better or worse, I mean, it's up to the individual taste, I guess. But we all like the co-op solving of a puzzle, which Gloomhaven offers, which something like, say, Diablo or a multiplayer dungeon game wouldn't. So, yeah, I don't know. We're still digging it. I'm excited to play more of it and finish out the campaign. But mostly I want to talk about Terra Mystica. So I've also returned to Terra Mystica this week in online form, a game that I haven't played since before I'd started playing Gaia Project. Now, Gaia Project is the new space-themed spiritual successor, I guess, to Terra Mystica. And I always sort of had viewed Gaia Project as, for my tastes, I would say a superior version of Terra Mystica. I like almost everything it changes about Terra Mystica. I was surprised in revisiting Terra Mystica this week, playing it with people that were quite experienced at it, to just see a lot more of the nuance of why its defenders like it so much. There is so much more on the board area control play where you're like cutting people off so you can see someone's just about to spread to an adjacent hex and you just branch your town to cut them off. And that's the sort of play that Gaia Project kind of loses a little bit because it gives you more freeform movement. I do still...
You can't block things in space, Neil.
Yeah, exactly.
That
you
wouldn't
just fly over planets. Exactly. It's 3D. It was just interesting to sort of not have previously appreciated a big part of this game and to like see it for the first time in a very long time. Because, you know, it's probably been about 5 years since I played Terra Mystica. And just to be like, oh yeah, wow, now I get it. I get why you might not feel that Gaia Project is a whole replacement for it.
So, Neelan, in the realm of area control games, I've never played either of these games. Do you think I would like both of them? One better than the other?
I think you'd be more likely to like Terra Mystica just because it's got that more competitive fightiness. But I also think it's like a very different realm of area control than I would say is close to your favorite games. It's much more like, economic's not really the right word, but it's more Euro with like an area control component. So I wouldn't say that's like the biggest part of the game. Mm-hmm. I think that of the two, Terra Mystica would probably be the one that you should try. But yeah, I'd be curious, absolutely.
But in your life, there's room for both.
Yes, exactly. I think it's just hard because, like I've said before, Gaia Project, the theme works so much better for me, and I like a lot of the changes, honestly, more. But very, very cool to revisit this one and find new things to appreciate about it. That's Terra Mystica.
I played Bloomtown from Sidekick Games. Sidekick Games, what are your favorite sidekicks? Around the table. Kellen, favorite sidekick, go.
Kellen is my favorite sidekick.
Boom, got it. Nice.
I'm not a sidekick. What are you talking about?
Kellen's my favorite sidekick, too.
I was trying to think of what Gumby's sidekick's name was.
Oh, the horse, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember.
I don't follow a lot of traditional superheroes. Like,
Yeah, give me some famous sidekicks.
yeah, who are
Robin.
Huh?
Robin?
Robin's no good.
Robin sucks.
Yeah.
Does Alfred
hate
count
Robin.
as a sidekick?
Yeah,
Much better.
Alfred. You could say Alfred.
He's not a sidekick.
You could say Samwise
Yeah.
from Lord
Okay,
of the Rings.
who's your favorite sidekick?
I'm going to say Tattoo from Fantasy Island, a reference that nobody here knows. The
What
plane, the
are
plane.
you talking about?
Yeah,
That's for our older listeners. I hit the older demographic. Chewbacca, Han Solo.
Oh, Chewbacca's a great one.
Chewbacca, there you go. See? I'm full of
On a
sidekicks.
list
Anyway,
of top 50 sidekicks. Jeff Green on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay,
There
I'll
you
be
go.
Jeff. Yeah, easy.
I'm not saying which one are you.
Yeah. Which one do you like, Kellen?
All right, back to Bloomtown. Bloomtown is a game from last year, I guess, that is a tile-laying city building game. As the title sort of indicates, it's got a flower theme a little bit, but just very little. You are just building buildings. They have like a sort of flower motif. The game is very, very pretty. There's a lot of like linen finish to the box and to some of the pieces.
Feels nice running through your fingers.
Yes, it'd be wonderful. That's the number one reason I would recommend Nealon is very tactile, very finger runny appropriate.
Anyway, runny appropriate?
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds
That's the term.
awful.
It doesn't sound appropriate, to be honest with you.
No, that's a board game geek classification.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those new things that they put up. Anyway, what you do in Bloomtown is you're building a city. You've got a 5x5 board, and on your turn, you are placing one of your 2 tiles down, and you're then scoring points for the type of building you place. There are 5 types of buildings. There are offices, subways, parks, homes, and shops. So when you place...
Wait, how is that flower themed?
It's not.
So far, it sounds a lot like Zoned Out.
Yes, the game that you guys covered a couple episodes ago. But I haven't played it, so I have no idea if that's accurate. Anyway, if you placed...
And I have not played Bloomtown. But based on your brilliant description...
Yeah, well, there you go.
say.
I'm trying to make
All right.
words into pictures.
Which is why I keep interrupting you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I take all the help I can get. So there are 5 types of buildings. If you place an office down, you score points at that moment for every office that it's connected to, horizontal or vertical. If you place a subway down, you score a point for every subway it's connected to diagonally. Or if you place a park down, you score points for every park it's connected to in a scale where the first park is worth 1 point, then 3 points for the second park, 4 points for the third park, and then every other park scores you nothing. Homes score you points for every unique building around you, and then shops score you points for every type of other building. So there might be an office shop that will score you points for every office you've previously placed. So you have to consider where you place the tile on the board because you want them to connect for these scoring purposes, but also where you place your tile will indicate which of the 5 stacks you're going to get your next tile from. So you always have 2 tiles in hand. When you place the tile down, you'll score the points, and then based on the image you covered, you'll take a tile from that stack. So you may see that, hey, I really want this tile on this stack, but you may want to place your tile somewhere else to score more points. So that's the sort of give and take. I want a tile from stack 5, but all the 5s are in bad places for the tiles I have in hand. So I've got to figure out, do I really, really want that tile, or do I really want to score points now? That's basically it. You're always going to have 2 tiles in hand. You always place one down, score points. It's got a couple twists, some that work and some that feel tacked on. The ones that work is the twist of not being in control really of the tile you're taking from the stack. It's based on where you place. That's an interesting push-pull sort of decision you have to make. It's got a couple spots on the board where if you place a tile there, you get a free turn, which feels a little tacked on. And then it's got a very anti-Kellen thing that's tacked on where everybody has one bonus chip where you get a free action that you can cash in anytime you want. It's like a get out of jail free.
So frustrating.
And that's just once per game?
That's once per game, but there's basically that get out of jail free thing placed on 3 images on your board. So you can either use the chip or you can place the tile on any of the 3 spots on the board and you basically get a free turn. Or a number of different ways to sort of like do whatever you want. So it's that thing where it's like a weird amount of give in the game. You know, it's a twist, but it just feels like sort of a cleaning up what might be like issues with the design, way to make up for inelegance in the design. Otherwise, it's a fine game. Plays in 30 minutes, plays real quick. I think the most interesting thing is the placement scoring thing where you're dual purposes and where you place. Another thing that I had an issue with is like every time you're scoring, which you're doing every single turn, you're scoring around the same amount of points. Like every time you place, you're going to score around 2 or 3 or 4 points. But, 30 minutes, it's easy to teach. It's a decent family weight game. Reminded me a little bit of Between Two Cities, but it's like completely competitive. But it has that building score based on where you're placing them sort of feeling.
I think it sounds very generic, but I think
Yes.
the artwork and sort of the visuals of it struck me as more interesting. It's like a stark white box.
Yeah.
Really colorful.
One thing that sort of hurts it in that respect, though, is that, you've got this board of 25 squares, but you're never going to fill the entire board. And the board itself is quite stark, as you say. There's a couple of flashes of green and blue, but it's not very colorful. The tiles are where the color is at. And by the end of the game, your board is not going to be super colorful. There's going to be some color on it, but like if the game went a little longer, which I sort of felt like it might improve it a little bit, you might get a more colorful, fulfilling board at the end of it if that was something you were looking for. But it's fine. 30 minutes, it's hard to complain too much.
It sounds like it's just like missing just like that little bit of edge that you or any of us, I guess, would want from this type of game, right? Because like I'm reminded of something like Electropolis, which has like a similar sort of, you place a tile down and each building is going to score differently based on what it's adjacent to. But the real twist that makes Electropolis shine for me is that bidding mechanic. And you've not played it, Mark, but it strikes me as something that would scratch the same itch, but that you would like a lot more just because of that one mechanic.
Stop scratching yourself, Neelan.
It sounds like Bloomtown just doesn't have that.
It does not have that, but it's not going for it either.
Yeah.
It's definitely going for family
much
weight.
lighter.
It's going for light, 30-minute, easy to explain. So yeah, not terrible, but I would say very sort of ethereal and forgettable.
Ethereal means forgettable?
No, what is the word I'm looking for?
Ephemeral?
Ephemeral, very ephemeral.
Ephemeral has this sort of quality like that it's
Smoke.
a good thing.
No,
Like,
I mean,
like our romance could have been ephemeral.
no.
Here and gone.
That's not right.
Like we
A
had
romance
a moment.
is ephemeral,
Yeah.
is like forgotten. It's just like it was here and gone.
Yeah.
No, but
I've heard
like our
ephemeral
romance.
used with butterflies.
I
a
think
lot.
it could be
you
used
know.
either way, honestly, but I think in context it seems more negative.
have you ever seen the
butterfly?
Before series of movies, Before Midnight, Before
No, I
Sunrise?
have not. I do want to see them.
It's sort of that love, we lock eyes in the bar and then we have a little moment and it's ephemeral.
It's like how we got our start.
Yeah, but that should be celebrated. I don't understand why you're using it as a pejorative.
Why do you want our love to like float away though?
Well, I am in a committed relationship with the blue tank,
Which I did.
so that is one reason. But ephemeral, this is a good word.
It's a good word.
Sure, you can use it your way. I'm going to use it my negative way. This game is ephemeral and sucks. Try to stop me. I'm editing it. That is Bloomtown by Sidekick Games. Look up tattoo. Christina, what have you been playing?
I, along with my friends and tanks, you guys.
Wait, which are the
Have
friends?
been-
Which are the tags?
That's right.
That's for the listeners to decide. I think that it'll be very clear after this episode. We had our first in-person gaming session yesterday, and it was very safe. We were outdoors the whole time. We were all wearing masks, and we sat far apart.
Safety goggles. Christina made us wear them.
Yeah, that did not happen. We have a video to prove it, so anything Kellen says, we can disprove. I record everything. No, I don't. Okay.
The deeper we get into quarantine, the more she just shakes her head at everything I say. Neelan and Mark have laughed like 7 times at the funny things I've said thus
You haven't
far.
said anything funny.
She just shakes her head.
Well, maybe stop saying like cheesy eye-rolly things.
That is not
Yeah.
the type of jokes
Well,
I
it's
make.
usually not, but I don't know what got into you today. Anyways, we played a few games, but the one that I'm going to talk about right now is called Starlink. It is a party game, and it comes with some very fun, beautiful components, including a circular board that is dry erasable. It is this really vibrant, dark blue night sky with a bunch of stars in it. And then it also comes with these really fun white dry erase markers. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
Helen was claiming that was worth the price of admission alone.
Yeah, Kellen, you can't
Big fan.
disagree with me there.
I do like them. What I don't understand why you're mocking me. It was a very ephemeral feeling.
So this is a party game in which you are an astronomer. You're playing an astronomer and you're trying to connect the stars to make constellations. You want your friends to be able to guess the constellations. So you draw a card and there are 2 words on it. You choose one of the words and you have a little timer and you just try and get your people to guess. Well, the examples for what types of things you would be drawing were things like, a guitar or a grizzly bear, things that would be kind of challenging to draw. So we were like ready. We're like, okay, this is going to be hard. Kellen goes first. He puts the pen down. The timer starts, draws 1, 2, 3, 4 lines.
Mark
and
gets it
Mark
immediately.
says square. And we laugh at Mark because like a square, why would that be one of the words?
What did you get for laughing at Mark?
Mark and Kellen got 4 points
Boom.
each.
Gotcha.
Boom.
One of the highest pointing
Yes, okay. A square, drawing a square is worth the same amount of points as drawing a bat, which was Neelan's word, which he drew next.
Why don't we explain to them
Okay, also-
how the scoring works? right?
Okay, so the way the scoring works.
I mean, I could speak to on the podcast.
Oh, go ahead.
He's your sidekick. You should let him talk a
That's
little
true.
bit.
You are a good sidekick. So the way the scoring works is each group of 2 words will have the same points. So you just choose one of the 2 words, and the points are actually little stars, so very thematic. And then there's a telescope, the little cardboard telescope with a big hole in the center that comes with the game. Kellen told us it wasn't important and we weren't going to use it, but it's very important. If you can fit your entire constellation within the circle, the inner circle of that telescope, you get a bonus point. And both the guesser who got it right and the drawer who got the person to guess square, because wow, that's hard, they both get those points.
It is a free-for-all of guessing. Everyone can guess, but the last person who has made an incorrect guess cannot guess again until someone else makes a guess. So there is that moment where you kind of think you know what it is, but you may not want to just shout it out in case something becomes more clear. And then the only other thing is that when you're connecting these constellations, the stars, you cannot do curved lines, which is something that we were policing pretty hard and going, that looks a little curved over there, which was pretty funny as well.
The example on the rule book of like straight line versus curved, it's like the curviest bird you've ever seen. That seems like a really unnecessary example.
I noticed that you gave the square example, but you did not give the
giraffe example
of Mark and I
Well,
also being connected.
I think Kellen had this sense that they were connected, this ephemeral sense that he and Mark were connected after Mark somehow was able to guess that Kellen drew a square. And then when it came around to Mark's turn, Mark drew one straight line and Kellen said, giraffe! And it was right. It was a giraffe.
Scored 3 points.
Yeah.
That was definitely impressive. Like, even looking at the finished thing, which had the semblance of legs to it, was like, I don't know how you would have got that.
I don't even think it had the semblance of it had.
It had legs.
No, it didn't.
It had like a leg and a neck. I think that was the extent of it.
It had a neck, and I don't know what the other thing is.
That's clearly a giraffe. We'll post the image of this in the Board Game Barrage Discord so you can tell us if you would get it. I think one of the interesting and cute things about this is that you can't use any of the stars that have been used by a previous player. And so by the end of the game, the board is full of stars, of constellations, of drawings. And so you're kind of building it as you go and changing the board a little bit in a way that's fun. This is really, really, really cute.
It was so cute. And it's really pretty. And when you take pictures of it, for whatever reason, the pictures of this are more vibrant than the board itself. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. Anyways, at the very end, you get to write your name in the stars.
Yeah.
And we had some fun with
Well, that's not in the rules.
We did it anyway.
that's definitely in the rules.
I did like the way it all looks at the end. Like, it starts off as this very like open space of sky, and then it's filling that with just little pictures, like with the names next to them. It does have a cute look at the end, and I think I appreciated that more than anything, was just looking at the finished product.
Yeah, it does feel like a system in search of the right game. It's one of those party games where the points are a little silly, but there is just something funny about someone starting to draw a crown and then getting to the point and going, oh,
yeah,
like I can't go where I want to, and now I have to like half go and find a different star. And so there are very funny moments in this, and I think it is very, very striking. Mark, you love Starlink?
Yeah, it was fun. It's a fun party game. I can see it at a casual get-together, playing it once here and there, but nothing I would necessarily call out for in a game night.
But what about the white dry erase markers?
That is something to behold, for sure.
That was more impressive than looking to the stars.
That's right.
Did you write your name in the stars, Mark?
I did.
Okay, good. Just making sure. That was the most important
Christina's
part.
looked like a 4-year-old's handwriting.
No, it looks really good, actually. We will post it. We'll let the people decide, Kellen. So that is Starlink, Sketch Through the Stars. That's the tagline.
Does it have a subtitle?
Yeah, that's what it says. Starlink, Sketch Through the Stars.
Where does it say that?
On the box, Kellen. On the floor.
Why do you have the box on the floor? I don't understand.
Oh, my goodness. Let's move on, Mark.
Is there an exclamation point that you applied?
There is, yeah.
Okay.
No, they applied it. I didn't apply
No,
it.
that you implied, which it was good
yes.
reading. It was good reading.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very good at reading. I have actually 2 books in front of me. I could just start reading them right now. I have the Chicago Manual of Style, 16th edition, and The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which is a new book. I'm very excited to read it. I just read her previous book. So we could just change the whole topic of the podcast.
You brought those to the recording?
Well, my mic is the only one that doesn't stand on its own. It falls over if you just leave it. So I had to prop up 2 books. And these were the books that I had within reach, so I put them there.
I would have chosen Crime and Punishment and the Bible.
Do you have either of those?
Yeah, is that
Within
What are you
arm's
talking
reach?
about? Yeah, well, not within arm's reach. My arms aren't that long, but I have them in the apartment.
You have the Bible in the apartment?
Yeah.
that
what
your
are you talking
Bible?
about? Yeah, my name is engraved onto the
Nice.
front, broski.
A Bible. That's a political reference.
I don't know this joke. What is it?
It's the Trump thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is such a good joke. I almost wanted to say Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, but then I knew I couldn't say the name. I was like, oh, I'm going to sound so smart right now. It's sort of this like...
I don't think we actually have that. We both read it on our Kindles.
Christina, do you know how to keep a bit going?
I'm
Because
keeping-
It's this thing called yes and what you've done.
You know what's
you
more
just-
important than yes and?
What?
The truth.
Oh, I don't know about that.
The first rule of improv: be as accurate as possible.
Oh.
So, moving on to our main topic. But before we get into it, quick. That's nice and smooth.
Oh, what was it called again? Quick call. What was it called again?
Quick call and go. Quick call and go.
Call
Quick call and go.
Yes,
Quick call and
this
go.
is the
Quick call
classic.
and go.
The classic BGB call and go is to the wrapping up of the second Board Game Barrage math trade. Which, if you hear this on the day that it drops, that is a industry term. You'll have a couple more days until the math trade wraps up. So if you're interested in joining, you have a couple days. Go to boardgamebarrage.com/trade and join the math trade. Last one was super fun. This one is shaping up to be even more fun.
We got a chance to try the new Dr. Reiner Knizia game, Whale Riders, that is coming to Kickstarter from Grail Games next month. Some more coverage from BGB to follow on that front. We don't know if it's embargoed or not, so we are not going to talk about it.
And in classic Knizia fashion, the last S in Whale Riders is replaced with a Z. So if you want to look it up, it's Whale Riders with a Z.
No, it's not.
Just kidding.
That
That's
would-
a
that would
classic
be a
Knizia
good-
thing.
I was thinking about the theme, and I'm like, there's no way that...
And on to the main topic. We've taken listener questions before, but this will be the first ever listener call-in show. So our first call is going to be from Heath. And Heath says...
Hey guys, Heath from Atlanta here. If BGB were making a board game, which of you would be the designer, the artist, and the developer or publisher? Thanks. Keep up the good work.
All right, good one.
I like the
Interesting.
part where he said, keep up the good work.
Implying that we've been doing good work.
That's true.
Is that the part you liked about it?
Well, it was probably directed at me, so...
Kellen thinks he would be the designer, the publisher,
Developer
and the artist.
Yeah.
So wait, the roles are developer, designer, artist,
And
publisher.
publisher.
and publisher? Okay.
I'm going to make some quick
Yeah.
calls.
Go. Boom.
I
Do
think
it.
Kellen's the publisher
I can see that.
because Kellen's gift for marketing is
Unparalleled.
Knows no
knows
bounds.
no bounds. Exactly.
Unmatched.
I want to say Mark is the developer.
Okay, I'll take that. There was one I didn't want, and you steered clear of it.
Which was what? Mine?
No, the artist.
And then I would see, Christina, I don't know your talent for art, but I'm going to say designer for you. And I don't know, I'm not really much of an artist either, except that it's like,
Your job.
it's literally my job title, but like in a way that isn't really art forward, funnily enough. But anyway, it's the closest thing to my job, I guess I would say. But
I would do a swapsy with me and Kellen. I'd be the publisher. He'd be the designer. The designer. Neelan would be the artist. Mark would be the developer.
You know, I have one game design that I keep kicking around, and everything but the art is sort of what I'm into doing. I like the idea of like running most of it. And, you know, like I would say the large majority of the graphic design of Board Game Barrage is done by me, with the exception of the like literal illustrations. Like I'm not an artist. And I don't know what you would call that, Neelan. Like what's the difference between the person who makes the card layout and the person who draws the illustration?
it would be graphic designer normally versus artist, I would think. I don't know if that language tracks for board games, but that seems to be the right ballpark.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are both.
Funny enough, Christina, as a professional writer in her real life, does not write Board Game Barrage's copy either.
I was going to say, funny enough, everyone thinks that Kellen is a marketing expert. And you know why they think that, Kellen? because you shout about it constantly. You know what Kellen does in marketing? Kellen's the guy telling the creatives what to do, like handing them assignments. You know who is the creative in marketing? I won't even say because I'm not a braggadocious bragger like Kellen is.
It sounds like you just described me as the general of an army that does marketing. So I'm pretty happy with that designation.
The general of the
I
army?
point and you go. What are you talking about?
You give vague directions.
You've never worked with me.
And then I take your vague directions and I turn it into something beautiful.
Spin it into gold.
Except for advertising is not art, so.
There is a real big friction in our industry between her job title and mine. Like there's actually a lot of like account people are useless. There's a ton of that.
Creatives are lazy.
Creatives don't come in until 11. On my side of the fence, we talk about how our job is babysitting her side of the fence because they're children and can't get their work done on time.
And on my side of the fence, we just talk about how annoying they are. Won't leave us alone.
All right. I think that answers the question perfectly. You're welcome, Heath. The next question comes from Pat. He asks,
What's up, Board Game Barrage? My question for you, out of the series of Cyclades, Kemet, and Innis, what is your favorite of the three and why? Maybe lay out some pros and cons of them and what your thoughts are. Thanks so much. Love the podcast. Keep it real, y'all.
what did you think about him asking us to keep it real, Kellen?
Well,
Versus
Christina
good
did
work.
tell me that the truth was very important earlier in the episode, which is not something I've ever
Considered.
believed in.
The jury's still out on the truth.
That's right.
Yeah, and science. So, Cyclades, Inish, and Kemet. I have actually not played Cyclades.
Me
I
neither.
played it once.
I've not either.
I played it once a while ago.
So that makes Mark
Mark's the expert.
Yep. Once
what is a
again.
good word, a smart word,
Expert.
like de jure, something like...
Connoisseur.
Du jour?
No, there's like a...
Do you know what that means?
No.
It means like of the day, right, Neela?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like soup de
Yeah,
jour.
but there's a...
Like soup du jour, yeah.
That's definitely not Mark. There... All right.
But if I was a soup du jour,
it would be
Clam chowder?
tomato.
I like clam chowder.
Oh, clam chowder's good.
Yeah.
What's our favorite
Okay.
soup?
What's giving the people what they want?
I don't like soup.
What?
Cyclades, I
doesn't
like
like soup.
for
Yeah, Kellen hates soup. I love like all soups. And Kellen, Kellen and I don't even eat together because we have such different. I like everything. Kellen hardly likes anything.
sounds right.
Pozole is probably my favorite.
I like a good tomato soup and a cheese sandwich. Get the cheese
grilled
sandwich
cheese.
and tomato soup, and you're good. Done.
That's true. That's very
All
good.
you need.
And so...
I like
Pat,
a good homemade
Hope that
I hope
helps
that
you
answers
pick
your
out which
question,
game.
yeah.
beef
Just
stew.
interpret our
Does anybody-
food-based answers.
If anybody has a good recipe for a beef stew, that's like my all-time favorite.
Go to the
you know?
Discord, to the
Please
food
don't.
channel.
I don't want
My
that.
mom makes a good beef stew. I could get that for you.
Okay.
All right.
Moving
Next
on to the
question.
next question.
Quick call and go. Quick call and go.
Quick call and go. Okay, so go ahead, Mark, our expert du jour.
That's right. I love the bidding in Cyclades. It has the bidding tracks where if you want to outbid somebody, you have to bid in at least the next spot up. And it just makes the bidding real quick. It doesn't take a long time. You just flies around the table. I like the theme. I'm a sucker for like the Greek mythology theme. It's not super fighty, which is one thing that I remember not liking about it so much. But yeah, it's a solid game from my recollection. And, you know, its pedigree is that it's a solid game. So
Was that with any of the expansions?
no,
because
it
I
was,
know
it was vanilla.
there's a
Not
lot of
Hades or
love
anything like that.
for Hades and Titan, I think, depending
Right.
on who you talk to.
Right. We should play that.
Cyclades always
Well, we
struck me as
100%
like a
should.
big gap in games we should have played by now.
Yeah.
I mean, I had it, and I had learned it like 3 times and brought it to game night, and it got, and then I got mad and got rid of it.
Out of spite.
But in the Kemet versus Inish realm, I have a strong preference for Inish personally, and how I would differentiate them is Kemet feels much more similar to Risk adjacent or wanting to play that traditional dudes on a map, upgrade powers, like thing, where Inish I think is much more adjacent to not Euro games, but more modern board games where you're doing a card draft and the dudes on a map stuff isn't as important. It is as important, but it's not that I move my troops from this square to that square and then attack you. It's more tactical. It's done through card play. It's done slowly. There's not going to be big troop movement all across the map and huge battles, but there is going to be tight, amazing card drafting gameplay. So for me, there's no comparison between the two, but I also don't really care for Kemet.
I miss playing board games. You know,
Yep.
I was just thinking about the last time we played Inish with the expansion, and that was fun. I just haven't had a time like that in a while.
Yeah.
So I have played Inish a lot, and I've only played Kemet once. So I feel like that's not really fair, but I want to say Kemet.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's impressive off just the one play. That's cool.
This is not a Kemet household.
I think the more I played Inish, the more I cooled on it. I feel like the things that you're talking about that you liked were fun, flashy things at first, but I liked the more traditional meeples on a map gameplay. And again, I really, really, really want to play Kemet 5 more times, but
You could get it with Mr. Cthulhu and friends now.
Oh, no, not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, you can't. It's just an add-on.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, what do you don't think they're going to... They want the Cthulhu money.
So this would have been a walk away Kemet over Inish for me until we played the expansion. The expansion improved a game that I was not a really big fan of Inish over my first 2 or 3 plays, but really, really liked the expansion play. So vanilla Inish, it's no contest. Kemet for me. I'd like to play Inish with the expansion a couple more times, but I still would vote for Kemet at the moment.
Personally, both are in my top 50. I love both of them. I think Inish is my favorite of the two. Kemet's fantastic. I think Kemet has so much to explore just in those tech tiles, the power tiles. There's just a lot of different ways you can play Kemet that become apparent every time you do. Inish, I feel doesn't have as much of that exciting variance to it, but it's a much tighter game that I think is also just easier to teach. The card drafting system is just so simple and elegant, and it's good. Inish is fantastic. It almost becomes a game that is more just about negotiating and moving around the board without the fightiness being the center of it like Kemet is. They're actually strikingly different, but I think I would say Inish is my preferred of the two.
The Matago trilogy.
So we also asked for questions on Instagram, which you can find at instagram.com/boardgamebarrage if you want to follow us there. So we'll just kind of bounce back and forth. I think Neelan actually answered one already, which is funny. This comes from Sarah Starring. Have you rediscovered old favorites due to gaming digitally now versus traditionally? So Neelan, I guess, Terra Mystica and Gloomhaven both kind of fit the bill.
Totally. Terra Mystica, I think, is the perfect example of that, of a game that I didn't dislike, but have discovered a new love for digitally in the last week, certainly. Returning to Gloomhaven has been fantastic. I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head. I've also been playing a fair bit of Eternal Chronicles of the Throne on TTS, which was a game that I liked a lot initially, but just didn't play it as much as I would like. And being able to play that online has been a great way to play that.
I'm not sure that I have a good answer for this question, but I think it is a really interesting question, which is which games will you prefer or play digitally, going forward versus in person? I know we've been playing Twa a lot online, and I think that the iconography has just helped so much. You don't have to know the iconography. You can just hold it over the card, and that has made that much easier to play. Yeah. So that's been fun.
Yeah, along the same lines, Race for the Galaxy is a game that I didn't play before playing it online, but I might continue playing it online because of the ease of play.
We might just give up on board games altogether and just play everything online. Video Game Barrage. Here we come.
VGB.
VGB. Here, I'll read one, Kellen.
Okay. I don't know that you have the same
De jure.
Okay.
respect for pacing as I do.
Okay.
I consider that one of my greatest gifts.
Here's an pacing?
I'm serious. I don't know why you're laughing. A proper sense of where things should be.
Okay. I found a good one. This is from Jay Sinan 90. And they say, if you woke up one morning as one of the other tanks, which one would you hope to be?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go Neelan for the accent. Easy. Easy money.
Easy money.
This is not... I don't know how to answer this.
People want to know.
But this is make a joke. This isn't how
I just did.
Yeah, that's true.
I think personally, I would say Christina for the charisma and the bubbliness. I feel like that's something that I don't have naturally, and I kind of just like the idea of having that energy and that enthusiasm.
Aw, thanks, Neil. Yeah, probably Neelan.
That's 2 out of 4.
Neelan wins. Oh, I guess Neelan and I both win.
Yeah.
We both got 2 out of 4.
Mark, I don't know what this says about us.
Yeah, nothing good. Not great.
All right, let's do another question.
Sure. Our next question comes from a person who's got to have the best name of any of our listeners, Kauri, and he asks,
Hey guys, Kauri here, or the Punch Tank from Iceland. I'm going on a hike later this summer with my girlfriend in Iceland for 4 days, and I wanted to bring a board game for us to play during the evenings when we're camping. But it has to be pretty small because we have to carry a lot of stuff, and preferably has to have few components because we won't really have a table, only probably the ground or some tarp or something. So I was wondering if you had any ideas for board games to bring and play that fits these criteria. Thanks.
Oh, cool. The Punch Tank. Yeah, that would be one of our patrons in the Discord. That's awesome. Thanks for sending that in, Kauri.
Kauri.
Let's argue. Kauri.
Let's argue about something we have no idea about.
Let's argue, even though it's literally recorded and playing out
Well, it's
for all
hard
to
to
hear.
Accents are
so-
not one of my specialties.
The first thing that comes to my mind is actually something that Kellen and I took camping. It is a game called Hive.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's good for camping specifically, I think, because of the components. One, there aren't very many of them. And two, there are these little like tiles and they're heavyweight. As we learned yesterday, the wind is very powerful and you need heavy tiles to keep the wind from blowing your game all over the place. And it's fairly small, but it's basically like a chess variant.
Yeah, chess-like.
It's a chess-like
Abstract game.
Abstract game.
Where you're
It's a
playing as
chess-like
bugs.
abstract game. You're playing as bugs. There's a bee. There's a spider. They all have different abilities. Some of them will jump over two. Some of them will jump on top of your guys. And
There's also a pocket version of this as well, even though the regular version is very portable. And there are a couple of expansions that you could add that just add 1 or 2 tiles. I think that the interesting thing about this question is figuring out the game with the least amount of components that you could play over and over again and not get tired of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you were going on, like, I don't know how long
he said 4 days.
this journey is, could be 4 months, 6 months.
4 days.
You know, you want to make sure that it'll last. My immediate recommendation or thought on the top of my head was Pinata, which is a 2-player game that is just a deck of cards with the candies. It's a little bit physically more space, but it's sort of that battle line-esque type game, but even a little lighter than that, perhaps. I think these 2-player back and forth games, you know, Hanami Koji could work as well. It really depends on your familiarity and who is he going with?
His girlfriend. Did you listen to this at all? I also just thought of the tiny little game called Shh, which is a really... Why are you shaking your
You're
head?
going to play that with 2 people?
Oh, can you not play that with 2 people?
I don't know.
I think
That's
it
one.
works with 2, actually, I think.
There are a lot of those gumstick
There are a
games.
lot of like gumstick games. Shh is my favorite. And it might not be the best too, but you can do it. It's fun. It's a little word game. And Kellen disagrees with me, but that's okay. Put it in your pocket. Bring it. Play it. Don't play it. It's tiny. It's light.
Problem will be that you won't have any gum that you need on that 6-month journey.
I feel like Coloretto is a good choice as a simple card game.
You know, you're probably going to take books with you to read. So you could take a game that is shaped like a book also, I thought, with just a few components. What games would fall under that category?
What could that
Paperback.
be?
Biblios could work.
Oh,
Yeah.
Biblios.
So that's
what
an
a
idea.
great idea,
Yeah.
Mark.
There.
That's what I would bring if I was going camping again. We just played a lot of card games too, though, right? Like a deck of cards.
Yeah, of course.
Last time we went camping.
Well, the 2-player part of it, right? Is
The 2-player part of it is tough, yeah.
Do any of like the small box games fit the bill in terms of space and ease of play, Kellen?
Yeah, I mean, you could bring Omen. I also really, really like Terrible Monster.
Oh yeah, oh that's a great one.
Which is that super 16, 18 card deck that simulates a collectible card game with no components, basically. So that would be another good one. I mean, there's also all of the Oink games. You know, you'd want the ones that would work best at 2, which is not many of them. It's kind of a really interesting...
Insider.
Airland and Sea is a little bit sprawly, but also a really good 2-player game.
But do not
Yeah.
bring Heroes of Land Aaron City, because that is not the one to bring.
We've lost listeners for that joke, Mark, so I keep beating that drum.
I think what we just learned right now is that if all of us went camping together and backpacked out somewhere, we would not have tents or sleeping bags because all we would bring is a huge collection of small board games.
Right.
And Cthulhu
Cthulhu
Wars.
Wars.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Sam, who is a patron and who I actually played Biblios with. Speaking of Biblios, at Shucks. Sam asks,
Hello, Board Game Barrage. This is Sam, aka Sarul from the Discord. My question for you is, if you could play a board game with anybody in the world, who would it be? What would you guys play and why? Thanks for the awesome show and keep it up.
Okay, I will go first. I would love to play a simple, quirky, or wacky game with Kanye West. And I'm serious. And
Oh my
thinking off the top
gosh.
of my head, the game that I feel like I could get through, something like Maskmen. A couple of reasons why. One, he loves weird Japanese stuff, given he's made like anime music videos for half of his songs. I think he'll appreciate the packaging and the sort of sense of what Oink Games is. And it's weird as hell. And so I think he'd appreciate that. And I just love to see him. I think he would, I don't know what he would do. I think he would think that board games are stupid, probably. But I would love to sit and chit-chat with him. I find him endlessly fascinating.
I don't know what game I would pick, but probably something leaning like thematic where like this guy's personality and humor could come out. But one of my favorite video game designers is Tim Schafer, who I know is an avid board game personality. He designed the Monkey Island games and Day of the Tentacle, some of my favorite adventure games growing up. I know he loves board games, and his enthusiasm and humor watching him play it, he streamed a couple of times, it just seems like I would love to be in a room with him. But yeah, I don't know what game I would pick.
I thought this was going to be a magician answer.
Yes, David Copperfield and Tricarian.
So, thebestschools.org tells me that in their list of the top 50 greatest living artists of all time, Jaroslava Brechtova is number one. So I'm going to play against Jaroslava. I call him Jarlo. Fake Artist Goes to New York, because I want to beat the best living artist of all time at an art game. Put that one in my win rate. I'll give myself 2 wins for that one. Christina?
Jesus, chess.
Moving on. Christina wins that one.
Well, no one's going to top that.
You know what I've always thought about this question? If you could like bring anybody back to life, wouldn't you just bring back to life somebody that has died that you love and play with them or have dinner with them or whatever? You know what I mean?
That's sort of a boring answer, though.
Very selfish answer.
Selfish?
Selfish, Christina. Yeah.
And playing with Kanye West, Maskman is not selfish.
Well, that's a different question. You're conflating.
How is that going to change the world?
You're conflating things. You could bring
So-
anyone back. You could do a lot of good for the world,
I always had this.
to life.
Oh, well, I'm saying you're just bringing them back for one dinner or one game. You're not like bringing them back to
Well,
life.
I didn't realize
forever.
that we could have dead people play games with us.
Well,
I don't
it's
think that was
usually how the
implied.
question. Oh, I thought that was implied.
That's fine.
I mean, I
Jesus
stand
sort of
by my
skirts that rule.
answer. True.
It seems like you've been reading your Bible.
I was borrowing your copy. I'll bring it back next time.
Yeah. And then one last question from the Instagram. This comes to us from a mass of board games with underscores next to each a underscore mass underscore of underscore board games. What is everyone's favorite Pokemon?
Oh, my God.
Oh my gosh, Kellen.
Mark, what's your favorite Pokemon?
What's your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon is Jaroslava Brechtova.
Okay, I have a better question. If you could have a Pokemon for your demon, you know, like from his Dark Materials, which Pokemon would it be? Because I know mine.
So, as in like something that's somewhat linked to you personality-wise?
Oh,
well,
I know
a
this one.
demon, like an
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is Jaroslava Brechtova.
Kellen?
You know, this is a tough question for me. As a child, it would be Pidgeotto. As a young adult, it would be Dragonair. And as a adult, it's kind of come to be Raichu, I feel like.
You're answering the favorite one, right?
Yeah, I'm answering the question that
Oh.
someone gave us. And then you told them it was a dumb question
I didn't say that.
after we shared their full username so that people...
No, No, whatever your username is, because I don't see it.
A underscore
do
mass
not-
underscore of.
A underscore mass
Underscore
underscore of underscore board
board
games.
games.
I do not think that your question is dumb. I don't think that you're dumb. I think you had a good question, but
You just think the reader was dumb.
It was bad. It was dumb pacing.
Kellen read it bad, so it's not your fault.
Nealon, favorite Pokemon?
I was always like a Charmander Charizard guy, so that's the first thing that came to mind. But
Was it from the anime when Charmander was getting rained on and you had to put a leaf over his tail so that
yes,
the
that
fire
did
didn't
go
go
out.
out?
Definitely, that cemented it.
So cute.
Oh, who made that noise?
That was Nealon.
Oh, that was cute. We were playing a Pokemon game once, and everybody had to make the noise of the Pokemon that they played. It was maybe the cutest thing I've ever experienced. It's like all these adults around the table making like really cute, like Squirtle.
All right, Mark, make your Pokemon's noise.
I didn't
They
know
say
you-
the Pokemon say their name in like a cute voice, so like Pika, Pika. So now you.
Nova. Dova. Bulbasaur.
Oh, Neelan's good at it.
Nealon gets it.
Neelan, can you say all 150 of them in their
I
voices?
definitely cannot.
As a child, I think probably Eevee was my favorite. But I loved all of them as a child. I didn't really play the game as a child because my brother always stole my cards from me or like convinced me to trade him the good ones for the ones that I thought were cute because I was little and he was mean. But now, I don't know. I love Ninetales.
So we are out of time. Christina has other things to do, so we're going to cut this one short. But if you have other questions, please feel free to go to boardgamebarrage.com/voicemail and leave a question. We're going to be doing another one of these before too long. Or you can ask us questions at Discord or on the Instagram. And
Feel free to call Mark at 1 second 310 5 or you can email him at gmail.com, or you can use his social security number. Oh, I know that joke's dead. We've done that a lot,
That's fine,
but it's
fine.
just so funny to me.
it works. It's so funny to me. Yes,
Like
so
Neelan's phone number too.
sure.
If you'd like to call Neelan, you can call him at 31. Oh, you're both 310.
Yeah, I used to be 213 back in the day.
310 3. And if you'd like to call Kellen, you can call him at 951 0.
951.
That's our whatever it's called.
That. I don't like 951. Okay, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks for listening. Give us more questions because this was fun and we want to do it again. You can find us on all forms of social media. You know that. Facebook, Instagram, anything. We're there. Find us at boardgamebarrage.com. Or if you want to join the math trade, boardgamebarrage.com, add a little /trade to it, and you're taken right to the math trade. Thank you, as always, to Heart Society for our intro and outro music, What's on Your Mind, Kid, from their album Wake the Queens. And that is going to do it for the show.
Oh, and thank you
guys
everyone
next week.
for sending in questions, and please keep sending them in. We'd love to do this again in the future.
There are no bad questions. We just ran out of time. I tried to get them to do more questions because I like all of them, but Kellen was...
Except for the one that you told them they had a dumb question.
No, I never said there was a dumb question. There are no dumb questions, Kellen. That's what I was taught as a child. I was very scared of speaking in class because I was shy, and they told me there are no dumb questions, and that was the only way I could manage to speak.
What is it?
Just dumb answers.
Dumb people or something like that.
What?
Yeah.
No dumb questions, only dumb people.
That's rude.
The one I loved as a kid was you should always want to walk a mile in someone else's shoes, you know. That way you'd be a mile away from them and you'd have their shoes
That's fine.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I loved that as like a 6th grader.
I'm glad I didn't know you as a 6th grader.
The only other shout out is that this month's bonus Patreon episode is going to be recorded live for patrons.
Live and in stereo.
Stereo 3D, well, not 3D. We can't guarantee 3D. We can guarantee live. And so, yeah, if you've ever thought about supporting the show, you can do that at boardgamebarrage.com/Patreon and hang out with us. Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Wait, we have to say bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Bye.
I hate saying bye.
Bye-bye.
Why?
Sad. I don't know. Okay, bye.
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 I want to do a very quick shout out to a what is the word I'm looking for?
Repeat.
Restart.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna say like words again.
Okay, do we do a quick call out to the math trade and go? Or do we have anything else we want to?
Call and go. Quick call and go. Quick call and go.
I would say just some
Weekly segment.
Just
quick
some-
call and go.
What are you? Stop talking.
I'm drinking my mocha chocolate.
I would say interstitial, and then you do that, and I'll just say the Whale Riders thing, just as
sure.
like a cool, yeah.
You love saying the word interstitial.
I mean, it's a good word, right? Do you know what it means?
Yeah, but you just say it all the time.
What are you talking about?
Well,
When have I used the word interstitial in the last week?
A lot, and you
A
do
lot?
that.
No, okay, so cite some examples. When? We're laying on the couch, we're watching TV, and I say, "Oh, these interstitials," and then I get up to go get a Mountain Dew.
Yeah, exactly. That's the daily reference to interstitials.
All right.
Callan picks words. You guys know this, right? He picks I would say a word a month. And I don't know if he actively goes and looks for new words and then decides to just try and use it a lot, but he'll pick a big word and just start using it for a month. And then the next month it'll be different.
It's not always big.
Okay. What is it?
Well, because I've actually noticed that I've been saying goof a lot recently. We were just goofing. Even though, and that's a small word for the normal, humble people.
That's a small word.
So, all over.
Are you trying goof out and just seeing if it works in your sort
Yeah.
of vocabulary?
I could be someone
I'm
that
going to
says
give goof a spin for a month and see if it sticks.
Okay, I see both of your stupid smiles across the internet here, but if I say these words for a month, what do you guys think you do for the next 6 months? Because you parrot it back at me.
What?
Okay,
I
I'm
will
the trailblazer.
Who can
I
say?
think I started
Who could
interstitial.
You started it.
I started interstitial. I think I started interstitial. I think the tape would prove.
What say you to that?
I think that no one will believe that. So
We'll put that to a
Say.
vote.
We have a lot of things.
That's right. Anyhow, so moving on to our main topic, but before we get into it, quick. That's nice and smooth.
Oh, what was it called again? Quick call. What was it called again?
Oh,
it's not a quick.
Could call and
Call and
go.
Call and go.
Yes,
Quick call and
this
go.
is the
Quick call
classic.
and go.
The classic BGB call and go is to the.
I think that's gonna do. I think we're at. Mark say we're out of time.
Our time,
Sounds
but
like
we're
you want to
gonna
be the host, Kellen.
He's
I'm-
the pacing
yeah.
guy. I'm listening for him for the pacing.
I actually think you guys should sit and think about this before you get back to
guarantee
me.
you
Spend
that I will
some
spend no
time
time thinking about this.
reflecting.
Reflect on the pacing of the podcast.
And where
Yeah.
it would be without Kellen.
The artist, designer, publisher, and developer of our Board Game Barrage
All right.
game.